Printed page 384. Start with the first words after the headings. The plain of Vittoria into which the French army debouched. The plain of Vittoria, into which the French army debouched on the afternoon of June the 19th, is a plain only by comparison with the high hills which surround it on all sides, being an oval expanse of rolling ground drained by the swift and narrow Zadorra River, which runs on its north-eastern side. Only in its northern section near the city does it show really flat ground. It is about 12 miles long from north-east to south-west, and varies from 6 to 8 miles in breadth. The Zadorra is one of those mountain streams which twist in numberless loops and bends of alternate shallows and deep pools in order to get round rocks or spurs which stand in the way of the direct course. Footnote. An English eyewitness calls it nowhere fordable. A French eyewitness, fordable everywhere. Both are wrong. See Fortescue, Volume 10. Fordable everywhere. Both are wrong. See Fortescue, Volume 9, page 152. End footnote. Oh, where the heck was footnote 1? Ah, there it is. At one point 7 miles downstream from Vittoria, it indulges in a complete hairpin bend, in which are the bridges of Tres Puentes and Villadas, as it circles around a precipitous knoll. At several other spots it executes minor loops in a tortuous course. The little city of Vittoria stands on an isolated rising ground at its northern end, very visible from all directions, and dominating the whole upland with 2 prominent church spires at its highest point. The great road from France enters the plain of Vittoria and the valley of Zadorra 3 miles north-east of the city, descending from the defile of Salinas, a long and difficult pass in which Mina and other guerrilleros had executed some of their most daring raids on French convoys. After passing Vittoria, the road keeps to the middle of the upland in a westerly direction, and issues from it by the defile of La Puebla, where the Zadorra cuts its way through the Sierra de Andilla in order to join the Ebro. There is not much more room for road and river in the gorge, which is... There is not much more than room for road and river in the gorge, which is dominated by the heights of La Puebla, a spur of the Andilla on the east, and by a corresponding... fudge it! In order to join the Ebro. There is not much more than room for road and river in the gorge, which is dominated by the heights of La Puebla, a spur of the Andilla on the east, and by a corresponding but lower range on the end of the heights of the Morillas on the west. But the Bayonne-Chassé is by no means the only road in the Vittoria upland. The city is the meeting point of a number of second-class and third-class routes, debouching from various subsidiary valleries in the Pyrenees and leading to various towns in Navarre or Biscay. Of these the chief were 1. The Salvatierra-Pamplona road, running due east, and then crossing from the valley of the Zadorra to the upper waters of the Araquil, by which it descends into Navarre. This was a route practicable for artillery and transport, but narrow and ill-repaired and steep, eminently not a line to be taken by a large force in a hurry. Scroll the PDF. 2. The main road to Bilbao, by Villarreal and Durango, a coach road but very tortuous, and ascending high mountains by mountings. Yeah. 2. The main road to Bilbao by Villarreal and Durango, a coach road but very tortuous, and ascending high mountains by long curves and twists. 3. The alternative coach route to Bilbao by Magaria and Ordana, easier than the Villarreal road in its first section, but forced to cross the main chain of the Pyrenees by difficult gradients before descending into Biscay. 4. A bad side road to the central Ebro, going due south by Trevino and Laguardia to Logrono. 5. A serious route running due east from Subijana. Subijana. 5. A similar route, running due east from Subijana on the Bayas to the bridges of Nanclares 3 miles upstream from the defile of Puebla. At the opening of the Battle of Vitoria, Graham's column was already across the Murgia-Bilbao road, and in its earliest advance blocked the Durango-Bilbao road also. Thus the only route beside the great chassis available for the French was that to Salvatierra and to Pamplona. The road to Trevino and Logrono was useless as leading in an undesired direction. In addition to these 5 coach roads, there were several country tracks running from various points on the Bayas River to minor bridges on the Zadorra, across the lofty Monte Arato, the watershed between the 2 streams. It was these 5th-rate tracks which Wellington used on the battle day for the advance of some of his central watershed between the 2 streams. Scroll. It was these 5th-rate tracks which Wellington used on the battle day for the advance of some of his central columns, while Hill, on the right, was forcing the defile of La Puebla, and Graham, on the left, was descending from Murgia onto the bridges of the upper Zadorra, north-east of Vitoria. Save. Having their troops safely concentrated east of the Zadorra on the evening of June the 19th, Joseph and Jourdan made up their minds to stand on the position behind that river, even though Clausel had not yet come up, nor sent any intelligence as to the route by which he was arriving. Aides-de-camp were searching for him in all directions, but nothing had yet been ascertained, beyond the fact that he had started from Pamplona on June the 15th, marching on Logrono. Footnote. Jourdan's Memoirs, page 474. End footnote. And where's the footnote? There it is. There was a high chance that some of the many missives would reach him and turn him on to Vitoria. But the idea that Clausel must now be very near at hand was less operative in compelling Joseph to fight than the idea that he must at all costs save the vast convoys accumulated around him, his treasure, his military train, his ministers, and his refugees. He was getting them off northward by the high road as fast as he could. One convoy marched on the 20th under the charge of the troops of the Army of the North, who had formed the garrison of Vitoria. Another and a larger at dawn on the 21st, escorted by the whole of Macunet's division. It had with it many of the old masters stolen from the royal palace at Madrid, the pictures of Titanian, Raphael, Velasquez, and the pride of the old dynasty, with the pick of the royal armoury and cabinet of natural history. Torino. Footnote. See Torino, Volume 3, page 233. End footnote.